right, future meta millionaires, welcome into today's video. Got something special planned out for you. We are going to hear the information directly from the horse's mouth in today's video. That's right. You hear a lot of us talk about what we believe and what we think is going to happen, but today I'm going to bring you all the footage that I have gathered up here for this video today. That's going to be talking about Mr. George Palacaris, the CEO of MetaMaterials, Ken Rice, and we're going to hear what they have to say during different points throughout the year and different interviews during the earnings calls and things like that. So we're going to go over one of the clips towards the end of the video that we covered in last night's video here. So if you haven't checked out these recent videos, make sure you go check them out, get you up to date, up to speed of what's going on with MMTLP. That's right, the special dividend from the Oro Grande project. Going to be exciting stuff here, guys. Huge potential here. Like I said, potential of 3.2 to 3.7 billion barrels of oil, 134,000 net acres, and a ton of potential well locations in the hot Oro Grande Permian Basin region. So let's go here first to this first one we got here. This was from an earnings call. So let's listen to this, what George has to say here. This one's going to mainly go over the risk factors.
Thank you, Rob, and good morning to everyone joining us on the call today. I would like to provide an update for holders on this next slide on the Series A preferred shares. The disposition of the oil and gas assets is now planned as a share exchange. Nextbridge Hydrocarbons will become a separate private company with a new management team owned by the Series A preferred stockholders. The registration statement, the Form S1, which was filed on July 15th, must become effective to complete the exchange. Timing for this depends on the SEC review and comment process. Typical timing for a first response is 45 days, but after the process becomes subject to further review and comments, if any. Costs for the oil and gas operations will be carried by Nextbridge, as to approximately $20 million of debt to Meta. This includes $15 million loaned last year and up to $5 million in 2022. Nextbridge, the new management for Nextbridge, is exploring financing options, and we are supporting their efforts. However, there cannot be any assurances that financing will be obtained and repayment of the debt to Meta may not occur. Please refer to the risk factors under our SEC filings and in the S1.
Okay, so there you go. That was back there in this earnings call, and they have to put out the risk factors that is associated with, the oil and gas asset spin out. But that was at the very beginning of the earnings call. But let's listen to what Mr. George Palacaris, the CEO of MetaMaterials, had to say at the end of that earnings call. So let's go to it here.
Okay, thanks for your answers.
Hey. Thank you, Chris. Do we have any follow-ups from Mac or Jerry? Hearing no follow-ups.
Maybe just one thing, Rob. I know that there was no question about the assets, so I just wanted to make just a little.
So real quick, he did the whole presentation of MetaMaterials. They do a Q&A at the end. No one asked about the oil and gas assets. So George wants to step in and say something about the oil and gas assets.
Note here. We put the first slide in the agenda was the asset updates and the S1. I just wanted to say that we stand by ready to maintain these assets. According to our agreement with the University Lands, we are eager to make sure that these assets, produce and further develop, and basically enabling the assets to be sold at the highest price possible. He just said to be sold at the highest price possible.
Just wanted to make sure that we all heard that loud and clear. Let's continue on with what he has to say.
Timing is fantastic for these right now, as we're in a kind of this super cycle for oil and natural gas in particular. I think the team has extensive experience drilling long laterals and optimizing for production from those laterals. And I think that's where you'll see more information and updates as we go through this S1 process. Thank you.
Okay, so this next clip here you can see is the financial highlights of the Q4 and fiscal year 2021. And at the end of this here, Ken Rice gets asked a question. So let's hear what he has to say.
Going forward, we ended the year, as I said, with $50 million in cash, and we have $110 million capacity left on our ATM facility. You'll see on the balance sheet that there are two lines that kind of jump off the page, and they're both $75.5 million. When we did the transaction with Torch, we wanted the transaction to be 75-25 in our favor. Well, the relative market caps of the two companies said that it probably should be 50-50. And so when the deal was negotiated, we negotiated for the 75-25 split with one caveat. And the caveat is that the oil and gas assets that were still on the books of Torchlight last year, or 2020 actually, would remain with their shareholders. And so whatever net proceeds came from selling those assets or spinning them out, they would go to the legacy shareholders of Torchlight. So the $75.5 million that you see in assets held for sale are those assets. With that, I will stop, and I think I have 1 minute extra.
And there are two questions. One, do you have a dividend coming?
There is a dividend owed to the Series A preferred stockholders that I mentioned, and that will be distributed later this year.
Okay.
What did he say? Let's hear that a few more times.
That will be distributed later this year. That will be distributed later this year. That will be distributed later this year.
All right, and the last piece of the puzzle, if you watched the video here last night, then you're going to know what this is. But if you want to stick around, if you've already seen it, just because you love the channel and you want to keep watching it, let's go into the most recent talks about MMTLP from Ken Rice here at the most recent earnings call just the other day. Like, this is just out of, like I said, from the horse's mouths themselves, guys. So listen to this, take this how you want, but this is straight from the horse's mouth.
Thank you, Chris. Ken, I think you had some closing comments.
Yeah, I think a couple, we've had a number of our shareholders inquire over the last day or two about a few things. One of which is that we filed an S1 again last night, and that S1 was filed for one purpose and one purpose only. The numbers that were in the original filing, S1 is related to the spin out of the oil and gas assets. And we filed an update to the S1 with the SEC last evening to do one thing, which is to roll forward the financials that were in the previous filing to make them current, because the financials that were in the previous filing expired yesterday. So we needed to update them to the third quarter.
So right there, the only thing wrong with the S1A4 is they have to update the metamaterials financials, because when they listed MMTLP, they used it old financials and they had to get those up to date for metamaterials. So let's continue on.
And what we're waiting for now is two things. The SEC will get back to us on that filing. We don't expect anything major there. And then the last piece of the process is once the SEC declares that S1 effective, then we go with FINRA, who has to help us actually implement the spinoff itself. And the major thing that they need to do is ensure that when we do the spinoff, the trading in MMTLP ceases, because the stock won't be there anymore. So that's number one.
Very interesting there. We know we got to do it, guys, what we do here on the channel. What did he say again?
Is ensure that when we do the spinoff, the trading in MMTLP ceases, because the stock won't be there anymore.
The stock won't be there anymore. Is that what he said?
Because the stock won't be there anymore. Because the stock won't be there anymore. Because the stock won't be there anymore.
Because the stock won't be anymore, because we're going private, baby. That's right. And the shorts are going to be screwed, and they have no way out. They have to close their positions. You cannot hold a short position going into a private company. And if they do, they would be forced to pay out the dividend, which would be very, very, very scary for them. I would not want to be in their shoes. So, guys, that is all I got for you in today's video. I hope you appreciate these clips. I had to get some time to put these all together for you and organize them out. Great stuff. Like I said, little timeline there of 3 different separate times that we had George talking about. Then we had Ken and Ken again. And you can just see that it's going to be something special, guys. It's going to be something special. Plus, we had the videos of John Berta from the MetaFam chats in the past. So it's just an exciting time to be a holder of MMTLP because we know what we got. I showed you in yesterday's video. There's no turnover. No one's selling. We're only holding and we're buying when we can. We buy on the dips. So hope you all enjoyed today's video. If you did, smash thumbs up. Drop me a comment down below. And I'll catch you all next video, guys. Peace.